I'm boss. My work is good. It don't mean nothing. As long as my work is poor, though, they're going to line up. And they're going to pay me whatever variation dollar I tell them to. My work is good. I'm not selling celebrity. I'm selling good work.
Peace, and peace. What's going on, y'all? Rob Blackstorm, y'all. Long time no speak. Shout out to all the new subscribers. I appreciate y'all coming through, subscribing. Unexpected. Shout out to Mastery Foolish, man. Appreciate you sharing my videos. Means a lot to me. Really want to get to the point where I'm able to monetize this channel and go live with y'all. So y'all coming through, I definitely appreciate it. What I want to talk about today is I want to talk about going from conscious to subconscious, the miracle frequency. When I talk about going from conscious to subconscious, what I'm talking about is really a mindset or a way of life, a culture, right? Now, when you first get knowledge yourself, right? When you first realize that Christianity isn't the way, or Islam isn't the way, or whatever religious teaching you were following, and you decided to come on the path of spirituality, or what they call the left-hand path, meaning that you're not following traditional religion. You choose to no longer be a sheep, or actually a goat, right? Instead of being a sheep, you're actually being a goat. And if you look at the Baphomet is a goat-headed deity, half goat, half man. And a lot of people ask, well, why is the Baphomet half goat, half man? Well, there's a difference between sheep and goats in the natural world. And a lot of times when people talk about the Egyptians or the Kamites and they say they worship animals, well, no, it's what they call a zoomorphic principle, where they're using animals to represent a characteristic or a personality, or what they call an archetype. For instance, the Atlanta Falcons, they're using a falcon, right? The falcon is to represent them flying high, to represent them achieving. Doesn't mean the Atlanta Falcons are worshiping an actual falcon, right? So it's the same principle. But also, if you look at the Kemetic set, it's also a goat-headed deity. It's also a goat-headed god. So what does this goat have to do, or what's the Baphomet and what does Set have to do with being conscious or being subconscious? The difference between a goat and a sheep is a goat does what it wants, right? A sheep, the shepherd could easily organize them. They'll follow the shepherd. They pretty much follow each other. So if one sheep goes one way, another sheep will follow. This is why shepherds could pull sheep wherever they want to, because sheep follow each other no matter what. A goat is different. Even the way a goat eats, sheep only graze on grass. Goats graze on anything they want. So they eat anything they want. They go where they want. If one goat is pulled one way, the other goat is going to go the opposite way. It's very hard to get all the goats to go in one direction because goats are independent. So when we're talking about waking up, or when we're talking, and even the goat, let's go into a little more goat science, right? Even with the goat theme, what do we call people who are unique, who stand out, who are better than everybody else? We call them goats, right? Greatest of all time, GOAT. We call them the GOAT, right? We call Michael Jordan. Some people call LeBron the GOAT, Tom Brady the GOAT in football, etc., etc. So GOAT, right? So it's the same principle, standing out, being the individual, being unique. So what we're doing is when we're waking, we're literally waking from the slumber of being programmed constantly and being followers. That's really what it is. And we have to realize there's nothing wrong with being a follower. This is how we all learn. We have something in our brain called mirror neurons. So when we look at someone else, when we look at something else in action, that's how we are. That's how we grow. That's how we're raised, by imitation. We see other people walking, we start walking. We see other people speaking, we start speaking. We see other people getting money and they're successful, we want to get money and become successful. It's mirror neurons. It's something that we see and we want to duplicate. And this is the way, what they call the monkey mind, because monkey see, monkey do. And we all have it. It's the reason why people are wearing earrings now that are hanging instead of just, I remember when it was just one earring. Now it went from one earring to two earrings So now the earring, one earring is hanging like a woman's earring. Soon it'll be two earrings that are hanging like women's earrings. This is just the way things evolved. And once it goes to two hanging earrings, then the majority of people are going to follow the two hanging earrings as a trend. This is the way we learn. Nothing wrong with it. The problem is, this is supposed to be when you are in your infancy and childhood stage, because you don't have enough experience. You haven't went through enough life experiences to mold you and shape you to who you are. So because you haven't had these life experiences to mold you and shape you to who you are, what you do is you follow. You have no choice. You're a child, you don't know better. You're a teenager, you really don't know better. And also your brain's not fully developed. Your brain doesn't fully develop until you're about 23, 24. So when you're running with a childhood brain, you're just running off imitation. You're really running off the monkey mind, the monkey see, the monkey do mind, which is really the most ancient part of your brain. Once you are of a certain age, the goal now is to process these emotions. Before, you just blindly, when you're young and when you don't know better, you just blindly take on emotion. You just blindly take on what someone told you. You just blindly take on what you feel. When we're talking about waking up, when we're talking about becoming conscious again, we're talking about literally coming out of that imitation mindset, or coming out of the slumber of just being a follower. Now, what happened after Neo woke up out of the pod in the Matrix, and he woke up and he saw all the other people in the pod? He had to meet with Morpheus, and he had to start training. And in his training, what he had to realize is that the world that he thought was real was not real. The world that he thought was real, although tangible, although he could see, hear, taste, touch, and smell in this world, that it was literally illusion. It was fake. And it was something created in order to keep the mind trapped in that reality, so that the computers or the other programs of the Matrix can run successfully, and then they could feed off humanity, right? Based on the bioelectricity or the electromagnetic energy that you bring forth. The key is to figure out what is your direction, what is your purpose, what is your goal. And you can't get that by being conscious. And the reason you can't get that by being conscious is, in some way, shape, or form, you're still that sheep, right? You're still that follower. You just woke up, you become woke, you become conscious, and now your consciousness, instead of being asleep, now you're aware. So what are you aware of? You're becoming aware of your history. You're becoming aware of your culture. You're becoming aware of your inner self, your spiritual self. You're becoming aware of your soul. And you're becoming aware of the way your mind works and the way your body works with your mind. You could even be getting in tune with health and wellness, right? And there's different things you may be getting in tune with. Now, usually what happens is there's some sort of tragedy or something traumatic that forces us to awaken, right? Or someone gives us some information, and that information is so traumatic to us that it forces us to awaken. But there's still that sheep-like mindset, right? Where we're still following. A lot of us come out of, and you see it all the time, where people come out of church and they left the church, but now they're following some guru online, right? And I'm not going to name any names. It's a lot of these gurus online and spiritual teachers online, and I'm not knocking them, because I watch people online. I read statuses and information from people online that inspires me. So I'm not knocking anybody for doing that. But again, if you're taking in information indiscriminately, right, that's part of being woke. If you're conscious and you're just aware that the Illuminati exists, the Council of Foreign Relations exists, the Bilderberg Group exists, Mount Weather exists, cloning exists, underground tunnels exist, conspiracies exist. Now, you got all this information, right? You know all this history. You know all this science. But you can't feed your kids. You can't pay your child support. You can't get around the way you want. You can't afford to treat yourself. You can't stop a bad habit. You can't stop eating late at night. You can't stop smoking cigarettes. You can't stop cursing people out. You can't control your anger. You're not confident enough. You need more confidence. You're not bold enough. You're very timid, right? You're worried about what people think. These are character, personality changes, archetype changes within. That's not going to happen just from you being woke. That's not going to happen just from you learning history and learning your culture and learning science. It's not going to happen. What is going to happen is you're going to have a whole bunch of knowledge and a whole bunch of smarts from someone else. I remember when I first became conscious, right? And my goal, right? My goal was when I was about 19. My goal, actually, no, about 18. My goal was to find God or die trying, right? That was my goal. Find God or die trying. So I grew up Jehovah's Witness, and I was studying and studying and studying and studying and studying and studying, right? And it led me to, study the NOI, Farrakhan, and them. First I was God Body. Then I started studying Farrakhan, getting into Farrakhan and the NOI. Then I jumped off that porch and went directly into metaphysics. Going into metaphysics led me to start studying Kemet, start studying Egypt. And that led me into start studying health, start studying wellness, and it led me to start studying magic, to start studying the occult. And occult just means hidden, so it's nothing to be scared of. And this is where we're going. When we're conscious, we are not we're not developing character. When we're conscious, we're taking in information. How you develop character is going into the subconscious, or going into the inner self, or going into the spiritual world. This spiritual journey, you could have a guru, you could have a Morpheus, you could have a teacher, but eventually you're going to have to be like Neo and make your own decisions. In the Matrix, the Oracle told Neo that that Morpheus would die, and he had a choice to save Morpheus or to save himself. And he chose to save Morpheus, right? But it was his choice. It was his decision. The Oracle didn't tell him directly that you should go save Morpheus. The Oracle gave him a choice. And what we have to realize is following this path of spirituality is we're going from consciousness to subconsciousness. And the subconsciousness is individuality, meaning that you are learning on your own. You're studying on your own, and you are literally wrestling with these ideas. And you are making sure that these ideas, these concepts, and the way that we view the planet, and the way that you view, not the way we, because this is an individual thing, but the way you view the planet is in line with spirituality and your spiritual principles. Everything is spiritual. The word spirit just means breath. Spirit means breath. So everything is spiritual. Everything. The roach, a rat, you, a cow, everything is spiritual because everything is breathing. Everything is exchanging oxygen and carbon dioxide that is living or animated, so to say. So everything is spiritual. So when we tap into spirituality, which means breath, we are tapping into everything. Also goes into the occult, because occult means hidden. And what is breath? If you can't see me breathing right now, I can't see you breathing. If I strained, I can see you breathing. So that is occult. Breath is occult. Air is occult. You can't see it. I can't see it. Right now there's Wi-Fi waves moving all around me. I can't see these waves. There's electromagnetic waves. Probably beta, because I'm talking, I'm in action. So the beta wave is moving. When we're dealing with the subconscious, what we're also dealing with is we're dealing with dark matter. We're dealing with the invisible. We're dealing with the darkness. And that's what the Baphomet represents. Some say it just represents balance, and it does represent balance, but it represents the individual path of knowing thyself. You and I, two different people. No one could duplicate me. I'm a dope motherfucker, but nobody could duplicate me. And not just because of that, because I was born unique, just like you were born unique. And you're dope in your own ways. And we all have a purpose. Everyone has their purpose. Everyone has a specific reason why they are on earth. And if you want to discover your purpose, discover what makes you happy. Discover what you get excited about doing. Discover what you could do, what you do when no one is around, when there's nothing happening, and the things that you get into that are enjoyable. Some people, it's tea, it's gossip. That might be your calling. Your calling is to write a gossip blog and gossip about people. I don't think that's, but honestly, I was going to say, I don't think that's people's calling, but it is. Because some people are called here to be a janitor, to be the best janitor in the world. Some people are called here just to bring havoc. Me personally, I think some people are born to die. I think Trayvon Martin was born to die because a lot of people woke up after Trayvon Martin's death. But that's looking at things from a subconscious perspective. When we're dealing with the subconscious, we're dealing with spirit, and the spirit is all. We've just verified that by using simple oxygen. But when we go into subconscious, we're really dealing with our inner self, and that inner self is darkness. That inner self is dark matter. 99% of the space in our atoms is empty. Empty space in our atoms. 99% of it is empty space. That empty space is dark matter. Dark matter, to put it quite simply, is when you look up in the sky at night, if you live down south or in the country, can't do that shit in New York. You look up, you might just see dirt, right? But if you look out and you look outside in the sunny, on a nice dark night, you'll look up and you'll see stars and you'll see planets. But between those stars and between those planets, what do you see? Darkness, the darkness of space, the infinite universe. So when we tap into the darkness, right? When you go to sleep, what do you see? When you go to sleep, there's darkness. When you're in the womb, there's darkness, right? So darkness is the foundation of who we are. We are literally sperm cells that are surrounded by earthly minerals, right? We're sperm cells surrounded by earthly mineral. If you look at your brain is the head of the sperm, and you have a tail, which is your spine. That's why in the back of your spine, you have what you call a tailbone. So we're really nothing but erect sperm, right? But that sperm is what? In the darkness of your daddy's nutsack. Everything comes out of darkness. So everything comes out of dark matter. So everything comes from the subconscious. When you meditate, what are you doing? You're going into the subconscious. When you are doing magic, what are you tapping into? Whether you're lighting a candle, whether you're using herbs, whether you're using sacrifices, whether you're using other tools of divinity like I Ching, tarot, oracles, and such. What are you tapping into? You're tapping into the subconscious. You're tapping into the unseen, because the unseen, the occult, the spirit is where the power is. That's where the energy lies. And when we're doing these studies, when we're going and researching these concepts, when we start making changes in our lives based on these concepts and start changing our personalities based on these different archetypes that we want to become one with, right? Whether you're working with deities, or whether you're just doing prayers, or whether you're lighting candles, it doesn't matter. You're still trying to tap into invisible, hidden energy to make shit happen. Now, before I go, I want to say this. If you're using spirituality for love and success, financial success, this is not the path for you. Give it up now. Don't even, you know what I'm saying? Just go back to church, go back to the mosque, go back to whatever you were doing. This is not the path for you, because there's people that are not spiritual at all and that are successful. If you're just in here just to do money rituals and, learn how to make some change, or you're learning how to bind a man or bind a woman, or do make her love me spell or make him love me spell. If you're doing magic just for that, get out of this. Really, get out of this shit, yo. Honestly, If you're using spirituality for that, get out of it, because you could literally just learn to become skilled at talking to women or talking to men or talking to personalities. Shit, you could read How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. If you're just trying to get some money, or if you're just trying to get a relationship or get love, like, and half of the time, these people that want all these love spells are not lovable themselves. They don't have characters that make people want to be with them. But they want to do a love spell, they want to do a bind spell, or when a man or a woman leaves, then they want to hex them or they want to hurt them. For what? For what? So if you're using spirituality, again, just for love and just for money, this is not the place for you. This path is not the path you should be going on. Find a new path, right? Go back to the church, go back to the mosque, join the sheep. There's nothing wrong with being a sheep. Sheep exist for a reason. Sheep have a purpose. There's nothing wrong with people just go to church. There's a lot of people who are not willing to do the work that it takes individually to become a god, to develop your godhood, to develop your godly powers, to develop your spiritual powers. They're not willing to do the work. They want someone to tell them exactly what to do. They don't want to make their own choices. They want someone to tell them step by step, this is what they need to do, because they are still in the monkey mind. They are still in the following mind. And when you first are woke and you are conscious, that is what you are in. You are just being conscious of being conscious. So yes, you have to be aware, but you have to go from awareness to inner awareness, to awareness of not just what's wrong. You know, there's a lot of teachers out here that just focus on what's wrong, just focus on the negative that happens to black people, just focus on the foulness that happens to black people. And they constantly are triggering black people, and they gain huge followings. You know, I used to do that myself. I used to always on Facebook and Instagram, when something bad happened to black people, I'd post about it and post my commentary. I'd post about it. Then I realized damn near every day I was posting something negative that happened to black people. I had commentary about it. And then I realized that personally, I didn't feel better about my life. I didn't feel better about myself. I wasn't happy. I wasn't enjoying life in general. So I had to make a change, because one thing we have to realize was we are all one. We are all unified. We have a direct exchange with plant life where we are inhaling oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide, and the plants get carbon dioxide from us. So we are directly connected to the universe. We are directly connected to all things. We are one with everything. So if we're one with everything in the universe, if we are directly connected through the exchange of oxygen to the earth, then we have to realize that hidden, or that secret, right, of air, of oxygen that we cannot see with the visible eye is more powerful than what we can see with our visible eye. We see less than 1% of all light in the universe. Less than 1% of all light in the universe we see with these two eyes. So that means the subconscious, the inner eye, is way more powerful. So how do we use this to our benefit? The way we use this to our benefit is, like I always talk about, meditate, go within yourself, listen to yourself, control, alt, delete your thoughts, backspace some thoughts, edit some thoughts, use affirmations to reprogram your mind and to start thinking the way you want to think. If you can't meditate or you don't know how to meditate, you can sit in a dark room, sit in silence, put the phone down, turn the TV off, turn the radio off, get the family away, or go someplace in nature and sit down, get yourself right. You get a pen and a pad and start writing out your dreams, writing out your goals, and writing out the character that you want to be and the personality that you want to exemplify in the world. Also, diet is important. What you eat, right, is very important, because food weighs you down, and the more food you have in your body is the more well, not more food, but the type of food you have in your body is going to affect your chemical makeup. And we are electromagnetic beings, so food has a certain electricity. Again, we are one with everything on the earth. So the food you eat is going to affect the frequency you put out into the earth and the vibration you put out into the earth. And when you're talking about frequency or vibration, we're talking about hidden things. We're talking about the subconscious. We're talking about things unseen. We're talking about the darkness of self. And another thing we have to do is we have to repetitiously program ourselves to be in tune with not what's out there, but what's in here. Every day we wake up, we have to be in tune with ourselves. That doesn't mean you have to live this pious life where you're just in prayer all day. No, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is we have to live a life that reflects what we want to be. And if it's about being a God, if it's about embracing your godhood, if it's about getting into spiritual power, if it's about seeing things manifest, then we have to get into that frequency. And that's something that we have to generate each day through our visual, through what we see within, and also through what we say out of our mouths and what we say to ourselves, our inner voice. We have to train those things for our best interest. Once we wake up and we step out into this world, the matrix is designed to program you. It's designed to put software in you that'll make you a slave to the matrix, that'll make you use your energy in order to build this world up. Just like working a job, right? You're using your energy, and yeah, you're getting paid, but basically you're building up the other person's company when you're working a job. Nothing wrong with working a job. There's nothing, as long as you get paid, there's nothing wrong with that. But eventually you should be working that job with the goal of becoming an entrepreneur, or the goal of doing something that you're passionate about. Now, if you're passionate about your job, then you're in heaven. If you could go to work every day and love what you do, and you work for somebody, that's heaven. It doesn't matter that you're working for somebody. What matters is if you're happy. What matters is the frequency, your energy you're on. What matters is your subconscious, your inner self. And that's what we need to tune into. And the distractions are going to be there. We all get distracted. There's things that happen in our lives that throw us off course. There's things that happen on a day-to-day basis that may throw us off course. The goal is to, if you look at the wave, right? If you look at the frequency, something bad happens. Frequency starts spiking, right? But the goal is to get the frequency back here, back at peace. And the way you do that is by thinking right, seeing right, and visualizing right. And you can't visualize from the sphere of awareness that is focusing on the outside world. You have to visualize from the sphere of awareness of what the possibility and what the potential is, and create your reality here and now within. Now people say, oh, that's fantasy. That's not fantasy. Everything that was created in life was created from here, from your inner self, from your soul, as they say. Everything that is created, from the cell phone to the radio to the TV to the car, they were all, to the airplane, all ideas in someone's mind before they became tangible. All ideas in someone's mind before they came tangible. So it's the same thing with the ideas that you have for your life, the ideas that you have for your character, the ideas that you have for your personality, the ideas that you have about the spiritual power that you will develop. You can, but it first has to be implanted in the mind. It has to be implanted in your thoughts, the things that you say to yourself, and it has to be part of your day-to-day activity where you're trying to realize that in the conscious world. And that's how you make the conscious subconscious, and that's how you tap into the miracle frequency. I know this is a long one. I haven't talked to y'all in a minute. Let me know what you think in the comments. Peace, power, prosperity. Rob Blackstorm. I love y'all. Again, shout out to Mastery Foolish. Peace.